Welcome to our channel, and we are going to learn about a very effective software that is Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. One of the best softwares that you can actually use to analyze data such as information concerning your daily expenses, concerning the activities that you carry out in your business or also in your studies. So with Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, we are going to look at how great is it and how effective is it. So we understand this Microsoft Excel spreadsheet is a package that is used to prepare, manipulate, maintain mainly data that require mathematical computations. Such data includes accounting sheets that are usually in rows and columns. Now, with Microsoft Excel, we can be able to actually interpret different types of data that is actually needing large computations or complex computations. In Microsoft Excel, you can be able to carry out computations such as finding the summations, that is totals, finding the averages, doing product, that is multiplications, finding the maximum value within a certain range of information, finding the minimum, finding the mean, and also we can be able to actually get results such as using the if function to know the outcome based on the calculations that you've carried out. So with this Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, when you want to start your new spreadsheet, you just click on this start button and then you scroll down to alphabet E, click on Excel. You'll be able to open a new spreadsheet that you can start working. So here is a blank workbook. You click on the blank workbook, and then once you do that, you'll be able to open up your Microsoft Excel. So this is our Microsoft Excel that we are going to work with. Now, there are some formulas that we use to get calculations. Those formulas include basic formulas, whereby we can do simple arithmetic. We can start with cell references, whereby we know that there is a specific cell within your spreadsheet. Which cells are these? If I open my Excel, all these are small cells that are interconnected, whereby we keep in our data and we do the calculations. But the most important thing you need to know is the identification of this location. So what location is this cell? If you look at it vertically, it's under column D, and also horizontally, it's under row 3. So this cell is called D3. Once you know that, then you can be able to apply these formulas, such as the summation to add values in a cells ranging from A1 through A5. So if you want to do totals of values that are put in A1, A2, A3 up to A5, then this is the formula you use, whereby you start with equal sign, you put sum, bracket, A1, that is the location of the first value, you put colon, then you finish with A5, that is the last location, then close with the bracket. But why did we use colon? We use colon to indicate a range. The colon picks all the values in between and then effects that formula that you want to apply, that is the sum. So if I go back to my Excel, remember this is equal sum A1 colon to A5 with brackets. So if I go to Excel, let me start with A1. This is our A1. Let's say there we have 10. A2 we have 10. A3 we have 10. A4 we have 10. And A5 we have 10. So meaning our range is from A1 up to A5. A1 10, A2 10, A3 10, A4 10, A5 10. So here we want to calculate the sum of all these from A1 up to A5. I have different formulas I can use. I can decide to go with this one, whereby I'll go with is equal sign sum into bracket A1. You'll be able to see it has picked it automatically. If I put a colon, then I finish with A5, it means that it has picked that range. As you can see now, the full range is picked. If I decide it is from A1 up to A3, I'll just indicate last here. Instead of saying A5, I'll say A3, then I close the bracket. You can see it has picked from A1 up to A3. But for now, we are doing up to A5. Up to A5. So if I press enter, I'll be able to get the result, which is 50. So that tells you that is the total or summation from the first cell, that is A1, all through A5, which gives us 50. Now, the reason we used this column is because, assuming you have a large data set of data, and then I just do it manually, that is A1, let me put some, let me correct this formula right here. Assuming we are doing the sum into bracket of A1, comma, A2, comma, A3, comma, A4, comma, A5, and then I close the bracket. I press enter. We will get the same results. But what's the difference? We still use is equal sum, which we did previously, and we put the bracket as we did previously. But look at here. You have so many values you are putting in between, that is A2, A3, and A4, that is between A1 and A5. This might introduce an error. So the best thing to do, instead of putting all this to get to your answer 50, you just indicate the first and the last. The rest that are in between will be taken care of using a colon. If I press enter, I'll get that result, which is 50. So that is why we are using the bracket in our formula. Same applies when we are using the product. So this formula is almost the same when we are doing different functions, such as when we are doing an average, we still use the same formula. That is equal average A1 colon up to A5. Remember, what has changed is just the first alphabet, the vocabulary. Here we have sum, here we have average. That also applies for maximum and minimum, and also applies for the product when you want to do multiplication. Let us work with some examples. Assuming here we have, let's say, 7, and in the next cell, that is I7 we have 7. What is 7 times 7? Gives you 49. So we want to do a product of the two. So I'll say is equal into product. I'll put bracket. The bracket is on the keyboard. Use the bracket with the number 9 symbol. With the number 9, use that bracket, and also the bracket with 0 by holding shift. So I want to do the product between H7 colon and I7. Then I close the bracket. I'll press enter, it will give me 49. So this tells us the formula is here, is equal to product H7 colon H17. That means it is between these and these. Another way you can get the product, it is by doing this, is equal into bracket H7, then you press this star, which is at number 8, that represents multiplication, times this one. that is I7, it will also give you 49. Okay, so you can use the formula whereby I've avoided using the vocabulary product. I've just gone for equal sign, bracket, H7 multiplied by I7, close bracket. It has given me the answer, that is 49. What about when you want to do the average? Let's say we have 5, we have 10, that is 15, and then we have let's say 1. So the average of 16 will give you 16 divided by 3. So let's see if you can be able to get that answer, which is 5 point something. So what I'll do, I'll say is equal average into bracket. The first cell, that is J11, into bracket. The last cell, that is L11. I close the bracket, enter. I'll get 5.33. Now this 5.33, remember here we have whole numbers, but this one is rounded to the nearest, how many decimals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is rounded to 6 decimal places. So I need to bring it back to whole number. So if you go to our home tab, then you move this way, you'll be able to see formatting for numbers. So we have here increasing and decreasing. So let's see this decimal. So here we have whole number. You just click right here to increase or to decrease. So that is how we manipulate data in our worksheet. So let us work with an example from your farm. So I'll click plus, and then we start a new workbook. Let's say you have a farm, and in this farm you have poultry. In this farm you have poultry for poultry, and then you have January feed, January, February, March, April. You want to calculate between these months, how much did I spend in my farm? Yes, so here you have maybe chicken, you have rabbits, you have turkey, then January, let's say you spent 20,000 on feeds. These are the months you spent 45,000. These are the months you spent 34,000. 34,000. Also this one 23,000. So I'm putting random figures so that we can be able to work with that. So here is our record. Let me maximize it a little bit. So in this record, it's from our farm. All this currency is in Kenya shillings, or Kenya shillings. So let me select the entire work. Once I do that, I'll go to Home tab. Then under this font, I can see we have border right here. So I'll click down there, and then I'll say all borders. So I've put borders for my work. Then on the titles, if I select this way, I'm going to shade with a color. So I'm going to search for a shade so that I can color my table. There it is. So down here, maybe I need to know totals. Totals for these calculations. So I'll select the entire also, and then I will go down here to borders, put borders also that will occupy that. Now, let us begin on this now, because here we are going to do a very unique calculation. What if I wanted to know the totals for January? So I'll click down there, and then I'll say is equal sum into bracket. This one is I7 colon, the last one here is I9. Close the bracket, press enter. It gives me 56,619, which is very accurate. So instead of working on this one, and this one, because this one has given us an accurate answer, I'll just come slowly to this corner down here. There's a small box you can see here. If you look keenly, you'll be able to see this small box. Let me maximize it so that you can be able to see. You can see if I click down inside there, there's a small box down here. So I'll just scroll my cursor little by little until I reach there, hold, and then I drag it this way. It will also give me results for those other calculations automatically. That is the power of Microsoft Excel. So all these months I've seen these were the totals for expenditure. I'll then select that, make it bold, and then give it maybe a different color as a result. Also I'll do this the same. I'll make it bold but color black. Now, using this result, I want to create a chart that can help us analyze the data that we've just worked with. So what I'll do, I'll select the entire work, then I'll go to insert. Here on insert, I have charts right here. So here we have the column chart, we have the line chart, we have the pie chart, we have scattered chart, we have this one is scattered chart, we have statistics chart, we also have hierarchy. So the best chart we can go with is this column chart. So I'll click down there. We have 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional. So I can go for a 3-dimensional column chart. So I'll click once, and we'll have a chart that represents the information that we are working with. So if you can see, here we have our work, that is the chicken. On January we had 20,000, February 45,000, March 34,000, and April 23,000. So chicken is represented by this color. As you can see, here is the color. On a month of January, which one had the highest? If you look at our chart, it's rabbits, which had 34,000. So if we look for rabbits, here is the rabbit. And then on the rabbits, if we look, so if we look at our chart and table, we can see there's some slight errors, so we need to work on this chart. So I'll click on the chart, right click, and then I'll say we are going to actually format some data. So I've selected some data, so we are going to work on this data. So let's work on the chart once again. So I'll select this information, then I'll go to insert this chart. I'll pick one of those charts, and now we can see here is an accurate presentation. So the title of this is my poultry farm. So here in the title, I'm going to type my farm. That is the farm that I'm working with. So you can see chicken. The month of January, the highest product was rabbits. That was 34,000. And as you can see, rabbits represented by this orange color, it's almost 35,000. Then followed by chicken that is following it slightly at 20,000. As you can see, that was January. This represents month of January. Then we can see the list was turkey that had 2,300, and it's almost half of this 0 to 5,000. So this is the result of the table that we created on Microsoft Access. Let me also add another sheet that we can work with. So that was our first example that we did. Now we are going to look at another example whereby we have information. Let's say we have information about students. So that is a student name. Then we have the subjects such as maths, English, and geography. What about the school name? I'll type up here. So what I'll do, before I type, I'm going to make this column bigger. How do I make it bigger? I'll just click there once, and then there's this boundary between H and I. I'll put my cursor on that line, hold, and then I'll move it slightly that way. I'll do once again until I can see the full name is actually visible. I'll do for also this geography subject, column K, I'll expand it that way. Then up here we have the school name. So what I'll do, I'll select, highlight to this point. Once I do that, I'm going to merge it. So where is the merge option? The merge is under this alignment, under home tab alignment. You'll be able to see here. Click there once and then merge and center. Merge and center means you make them to become one. Initially there were 4 different cells. Let me undo. The first cell, second, third, and fourth. So I selected all of that, then drop down, merge and center. So once I merge and center, I can type the school name. Let me call it Excellent Academy. So in this school, let's say you have students. Let's say you have Brian, James, you have Sandra, Makori, we have Alice, Achieng, and then we have Thomas Otieno. So those are the students. What marks did they score? Let me give them random marks, just random for the purpose of learning. So these are the marks scored by the students. Then here I want to calculate the average score, so that I can be able to grade the students. So average, I'm going to use the average formula, which we had seen earlier. The average formula, let's look at it. Here it is equal to average the first cell colon the last cell. That gives you a range. So we'll pick one student and apply this formula. So I'll go back to the student. Let's say we pick James. So I'll type the formula is equal average Then I start with the first. The first cell for James was this mathematics marks. Put colon and then the last one, which is geography. Close, press enter. I get the value. Let me round it to the nearest whole number. So I'll reduce it that way. Now it is whole number, that is 63. So the average of 56 and 78 gives you 63. If I click on these marks, you can be able to see these are just numbers, general numbers. But here we have a function of a formula. So here is a function of a formula. So then I will drag this small box downwards so that I get the results down here also. So here are the students. Now we need to apply a formula that is going to automatically rank these students according to their performance. We want to know who has passed and who has failed. Let's say the pass mark is 75. Let us set the pass mark to be an average of this. So let me calculate an average of that. Let's say pass mark. This pass mark, I want to know the pass mark for all these subjects. So I'll say is equal. Let me use the average as the pass mark. Average into bracket. I'll work with that. Close, press enter. So the average for mathematics is 77. For English, we are going to see. For geography, we are going to see. And the average for the average, we are going to see. So to average for average is 70, let's say 73. So I'm going to round off all this. Let me round off so that we can have all numbers. So the average is 73. So average is 73. Average is equals to 73. So we want to use this 73 as a pass and fail mark. Whoever gets above 73 has passed. Whoever gets below 73 has failed. So we are going to put that remark here. So for the remark, we are going to use the if function. Here is the if function. We are going to use if formula to get that formula. The if functions helps us, it returns a true or a false. Or we can say it gives us a pass and fail. So is equal if into bracket, the marks of a student, we can pick the first student. If it is greater than the average that we had decided that was 73, comma, connotation marks, the result should be true. But if it is not, this is not the reality, maybe it is less, the result we should get is false. So for us here, it's going to be pass and fail. So we will use this formula, but we will change this to become pass and fail, so that the computer can actually give us the remark we want. So I'll say is equal if the value that the average of this student Brian, if it is greater than 73 here, that was the pass mark, comma, then I put that connotation marks. The result we want the computer to give us is pass, comma, but if it is not true, it will give us fail. It should tell us that he has failed. So I open with one bracket, I close with one bracket. Here is the formula. Is equal if, into bracket, if L6 is greater than 73, L6 represents the average for Brian. So if Brian here, whatever is scored here, if it is greater than this pass mark, then let him get a pass. But if it is less than this pass mark, he should get a fail. So let's see the result. If I press enter, it has told me that Brian failed. What about this other student, Sandra? She has 80. We want to see if automatically the computer is going to give Sandra a pass. So I'll drag it downwards. like that. So we can see Sandra passed because she had above 73. What about this student who had 73? Why did they fail? They failed because in our formula we said we used this greater. We didn't use greater or equal. So because the mark they got is not greater than 73, that's why they failed. But if we want to see them pass, someone who has 73 and higher to pass, we have to modify the formula. So how do we modify? We'll go back to the formula. Where we typed greater than 73, we add equal so that it becomes greater or equal. Remember, this first part with a comma is the logical test. This is the logical test we've tested the computer, followed by the value if this logical test is true, that is pass. Then also we have value if false. If this test is false, we get this other remark. So we've done changes, press enter to see the changes. So here is the changes, that if it is greater or equal than 73, meaning those who have 73 should get a pass. So I'm going to drag this downwards, and we can see now those who had 73. She has passed here. Let me do once again, up to down. '73. This formula, let's do it. So we have applied it up to the last student, that is Otieno. So you can see Otieno had 74, he passed. Alice had 73, so he got 73 and above, passed. But those who got 63 failed. What if this one had 72? What will be the mark? It will be a fail. So if I type 72, automatically it will detect here and make the change. It has automatically updated to fail. So that is how we work with our Microsoft Access. I've selected entire work, and now I'm going to align at the center horizontally and vertically. After that, I'm going to select this entire row. Then I will merge it, merge and center, merge and center. After that, select the entire work, make it all border, bold, and then give it a color so that it can look a little bit better. So that is the end of today's learning exercise. And on part 2, we are going to do more on it. So thank you for your wonderful concentration, and I hope this is going to help you. Feel free to comment down there anywhere you feel you are stuck, and we'll be able to help you and assist you. Thank you.